Alright, so today we're going to be continuing the concept of solving systems of equations. The only difference is you're going to be given word problems instead of equations. So pause the video if you need to write all this down, but we're solving word problems by defining two equations. You're going to create a system of equations based on variables that you select. So you're going to define your variables, you're going to write your two equations, and typically in these problems one of your equation is going to have cost or money in all the numbers in the equation, and the other equation is only representing however many items. So you'll see that as we go through the problems. And then you get to choose if you want to use substitution or elimination, and then make sure you answer in a complete sentence, because when you start with words, you should end with words. All right, problem number one, it says Ricardo received $350 for his birthday, and he intends to use the money to purchase 8 new video games. He owns both a PS2 and an Xbox 360. If each PS2 game costs $40 and each Xbox game costs $50, how many of each type will he be able to purchase? So there should be two unknowns. What are we looking for? How many of each type? Well, there's two types of video games. We've got PS2 video games and Xbox video games. So maybe let's go with X for Xbox and Y for PS2 games. You don't have to use X's and Y's. You can use whatever letters you want, but for this problem, this should work. All right, so if I make a cost equation, all of the costs are here, 350, 40, and 50. Well, I'll start with Xbox. Xbox cost $50 each, so 50X plus 40Y equals my total amount. So however many Xbox games I have times 50, however many PS2 games I have times 40, and then I add that up, and that should give me $350 that he can spend on his games. All right, the second equation should just deal with number of items. Well, I have some amount of Xbox games and some amount of PlayStation games, and total I should have 8 new video games. All right, so now we've defined our variables. That was saying what X and Y was. We wrote our two equations, and then now you can solve. So you're going to look, do you have X equals or Y equals? Well, no, they're just lined up. So if they're lined up, that's my elimination method. All right, so let's just make these be opposites. If I want to find the opposite of 50, I want this to say negative 50. So I have to multiply it all by negative 50. So I have negative 50x minus 50y equals negative, whatever 50 times 8 is, which is negative 400. All right, the top equation I didn't change, so I'm just going to copy it down. And if I add these together, one of my variables should cancel. So these are opposites, so that goes away. And if I add, I get negative 10y equals negative 50. And if I divide by negative 10, I get y equals 5. So you can substitute this back into any of the equations, but if you look at which one's the easiest, the one that has the least amount of numbers in it is right here. X plus y is 8. Well, that means that x has to be 3. All right, but now that I have these answers, I don't want an ordered pair. That was good when I was dealing with just lines. But here I want to have a sentence. How many of each type will he be able to purchase? He will be able to purchase. All right, so what do we have? 3 Xbox 360 games and 5 PlayStation 2 games. And as long as you've answered the original question in the problem, then you are all done. All right, so we're going to continue doing these word problems. Derek has 100 coins worth $22. If he only has dimes and quarters, how many of each, this is your question, does he have? Well, what are the things we're trying to find? How many dimes and how many quarters? So we're going to let D equal dimes and Q equals quarters. So if I want a cost equation, what is the cost of dimes? Well, they don't tell you that, but you should know that every dime is 10 cents and every quarter is worth 25 cents. So 0.10 dimes plus 0.25 quarters equals the $22 that I should have total. Notice that I did 0.10 because it's not $10, it's 10 cents. All right, if you have 100 coins, I have some amount of dimes, some amount of quarters, and total I should have 100 coins. All right, so I want to get, these are all lined up. I want to have something eliminate, so I'm going to try to do the elimination method again. This says 0.10. If I want the opposite of it, I just have to multiply it by negative 0.10. All right, so I've got negative 0.10 D minus 0.10Q equals negative 10, because 100 times negative 0.10 is negative 10. All right, so now the top equation I don't need to do anything with. You should be able to see that one of your variables cancels. So the D's cancel, and I have positive 0.15Q equals 12. If you divide both sides by 0.15, you get Q equals 80. All right, so that answers part of my question. I have how many quarters I have. How many dimes? This is the easiest equation. So dimes plus 80 equals 100. Well, dimes is 20. So to answer the question, he has 20 dimes and 80 quarters. The coins problems, anything with coins, these are probably going to be the ones where they don't need to tell you what the cost of those items are, because you should know how much the coins are worth. All right, moving on. Number 3, you need to buy 8 packages of meat for a cookout. A package of hot dogs costs $1.60, and a package of hamburgers costs $5. If you spend a total of $23, how many packages of each can you buy? What are we trying to find? How many hot dogs? I'm going to call it D for hot dogs, and B for hamburgers. I don't want to use H because they both have an H in it. All right, so one of my equations is just with cost. So hot dogs cost $1.60, and hamburgers cost $5, and I have a total of $23. Then I have a certain amount of hot dogs, a certain amount of hamburgers, and I should have 8 total items. Now that everything's lined up, I can multiply, let's say, the bottom equation by negative 1.6. I could do it by negative 5. That would work as well. Okay, so I'm going to do negative 1.60 D minus 1.60 B equals negative 12.8. And then the top equation doesn't change. All right, I'm going to add together. The D's cancel, and I am left with $3.40 times B equals 10.2. So if I divide both sides by 3.40, then I get B to equal 3. All right, go back to the easiest equation. D plus B equals 8. That means that D equals 5. So how many packages of each can you buy? You can buy 5 hot dog packages and 3 hamburger packages. Most of these problems are going to be set up as elimination. I think there'll be just a few, if any, that show up as a substitution problem. All right, number 4, your family goes to a southern-style restaurant for dinner. There are 6 people in your family. Some people order the chicken for $14, and some others order the steak dinner for $17. If the total bill was $99, how many people ordered each dinner? All right, so we've got chicken and steak. That'll answer the question, how many people ordered each dinner? So C can be chicken, S can be steak. Then I want to know how much did each of them cost. So $14 for chicken dinners, $17 for steak dinners, and the total bill is $99. There's 6 people in my family, so some amount of chicken, some amount of steak. Total I got $6. Or sorry, six people, 6 meals. All right, I'm going to multiply this one by negative 14, and I get negative 14C minus 14S equals negative 70. No, 84, sorry. Good thing I used a calculator to check. All right, negative 84. So now I've got 14C plus 17S equals 99. Okay, I'm going to add together, and I get 3S equals 15. So if I divide by 3, I get S equals 5. And if you go back to your easiest equation, C plus 5 equals 6, so C equals 1. So there were 5 steak dinners and 1 chicken dinner ordered. All right, one more coin problem, and then we have a percentage problem. So coins, we've got quarters and nickels this time. So Q for quarters, N for nickels. We have 11 coins, so some amount of quarters plus some amount of nickels should equal 11. And then we've got quarters are 0.25, nickels are 0.05. 0.25Q plus 0.05N equals $1.75. All right, if I multiply by negative 0.25, I get negative 0.25Q minus 0.25N equals negative 2.75. So Q's are going to be the ones that cancel because those are opposite. So I have negative 0.2. N equals negative 1. And if I divide both sides by negative 0.2, I get N equals 5. So Q plus 5 equals 11, and if I subtract 5 on both sides, I get, Q equals 6. So Jerry has 6 quarters and 5 nickels. All right, final problem. An attorney got 2 loans in order to open her law office. The interest rate on one loan was 12%. The interest rate on the other was 15%. So this time I need an equation that represents percentage. So we've got 2 loans. We're going to call this the first loan, X, and the second loan, Y. My first loan had 12% interest. My second loan was 15% interest. In total, her total interest, right, these are all interest rates or costs in this situation, $3,510. Grand total, I had 2 loans that were borrowed for $25,000. All right, so notice that when you have a percentage, if you have 12%, you need to move the decimal place over 2 times. So that's why it's 0.12. And if it was 15%, I need to move 2 decimal places over. So that's why it's 0.15. All right, so I'm going to multiply the bottom equation by negative 0.12. And I get negative 0.12x minus 0.12y equals negative 3,000. Just going to copy the first equation over. And the x's cancel, and I have 0.03y equals 510. If I divide each side by 0.03, I get y equals 17,000. All right, so go back to the easiest equation, x plus 17,000 equals 25,000. So that gives me x equals 8,000. All right, so the question was, find the amounts of each of the 2 loans. So the first loan was $8,000, and the second loan was $17,000. All right, so this should cover all the different types of word problems that you're going to see in class for the rest of this chapter. There's no other types of problems, I believe.